Recently, a viewer left a comment that he bought a 2007 C6 Corvette and it's got a rough idle. He proceeded to replace the harmonic balancer and that didn't fix the problem. Then he drove the car somewhere around 1,000 miles and he got a check engine light, and when he pulled the code with a scan tool, it was a P0307, which means the computer believes there's an unacceptable number of misfires happening with cylinder number 7. Next, he installed a new ignition coil in cylinder number 7, and I believe likely as a maintenance item, since he probably doesn't know the history of the vehicle, he installed all new spark plugs and wires in all 8 cylinders, and it still has a rough idle. He didn't indicate if the check engine light keeps coming back on, and if it does it come back on immediately after starting the engine, or do you have to drive it for quite some time before the check engine light comes back on? And at this point, he's asking me if I have any ideas, and I do. And so I decided to do this video because I believe most of you guys either have a C5 or a C6 parked in your garage, and the diagnostics, in my opinion, are pretty much the same for the engines on both of these cars, with some variances depending on the clues your engine's giving you. The viewer doesn't say what diagnostic steps were taken, if any, before the decision was made to replace the harmonic balancer. That's water under the bridge for him, but for you, if you're wondering about the condition of your harmonic balancer, take a look at this video up here for some easy tests that anybody can do to determine if your harmonic balancer is good or bad. So again, after changing the harmonic balancer, the idle was still rough. He drove the car for another 1,000 miles or so, and then he got a check engine light with the trouble code P0307. So to me, it sounds like it took quite a bit of driving before that check engine light came on, and so I don't think it's a hard failure of a specific component, and therefore I think the P0307 might be a fluke. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a hard part failure of something like a spark plug, a wire, or a coil for a specific cylinder, that should lead to a continuous misfire in that same cylinder, and every time you clear the codes and restart the engine, you should quickly get another check engine light with the same diagnostic trouble code. Because the viewer's main complaint is of a rough idle, and because our C5 and C6 Corvettes both have electronic drive-by-wire throttle bodies, I'm going to start without any further diagnostics, and I'm going to perform a simple, low-cost maintenance item that is often overlooked to see if it takes care of the problem, and that maintenance item is cleaning the throttle body. You might be wondering why a dirty throttle body with a little carbon buildup would cause a rough idle. And so what happens is at idle, the computer is controlling that throttle blade with very fine movements and control so that it is cracked open by just a little bit. When the throttle body gets a material amount of carbon starting to build up on the throttle blade itself and on the interior portion of the throttle body, when that blade is almost closed, that extra carbon effectively forms too much of a seal, and sometimes that carbon buildup can get to be too much, and it effectively overly seals that throttle blade against the throttle body housing to a point where the computer's idle circuitry can no longer adapt, and we end up with a rough idle. To clean your throttle body, simply remove enough of your air intake track leading to the throttle body on your LS1, 2, 3, 6, or 7 so that you have good access to the front of the throttle body and the throttle blade. Then have an assistant get in the car, turn the ignition on but don't start the engine, and push and hold the accelerator pedal all the way to the floor, and just as if it was cable driven, the electronic throttle body will fully open the butterfly valve. Now this is important, so listen carefully. Do not force that throttle blade open with your hand. You can damage the gears inside your throttle body, and that would be expensive. Even if you don't damage the gears by forcing the throttle body open, by doing that, you're much more likely to need to have to do a throttle relearn process, which requires a bunch of steps and time that we can completely avoid by having an assistant simply push the accelerator pedal. Now spray a fair amount of throttle body cleaner on the throttle body and the blade, as well as on a clean cloth, and then using the cloth, again with that blade wide open, scrub the walls of the throttle body and the blade and pretty much everything you can get your fingers on, and remove as much of the carbon buildup as you possibly can. Once you're satisfied with your cleaning job, go ahead and reassemble the intake track, clear any of the diagnostic trouble codes with a scan tool, and go ahead and start the engine. Now don't be alarmed, but when you first started, it may idle even worse than it did before, and this is normal, and it's because the computer had adjusted itself as best it could to that carbon buildup layer around the throttle blade, which is no longer there. So the computer is going to have to learn and readjust itself to the new squeaky clean throttle body over the next couple of driving cycles. So now is a great time to hop in the Corvette and go for a test drive. Make sure you stop once in a while, shut the engine off for a minute or two, restart it, drive it some more, and repeat. And after 2 or 3 of these driving cycles, hopefully you should now be back to a smooth and normal idle. If cleaning the throttle body has fixed your idle problem, congratulations, you're done, and you better be subscribed. If cleaning the throttle body didn't fix your idle issue, at least we've taken care of a maintenance item that should be done once in a while anyway, and now we can move on to further diagnostics. Now, depending on which cylinder the misfire is happening in, your diagnostic trouble code should vary between P0301 all the way through P0308, depending on which cylinder is experiencing the misfire. If the misfire is serious enough, meaning that it's misfiring just about every time that cylinder should fire, you might get a flashing check engine light, which is alerting you to stop ASAP, because if you don't, there's plenty of raw fuel that's getting into the exhaust system, and in a short amount of time, it can quickly destroy one or more of your catalytic converters. And that's expensive. So here is the first diagnostic decision tree fork in the road. Does he have a situation where every time you clear the codes and restart the engine, the check engine light quickly comes on and gives you the same diagnostic trouble code indicating the same cylinder is experiencing a misfire or not? If he does, then the first thing I would simply do is swap the spark plug and the wire from cylinder number 7 to cylinder number 3, and from cylinder number 3 to cylinder number 7, and then using a scan tool, I would clear the codes, restart the engine, and then see if you get another check engine light, and if that diagnostic trouble code is still indicating cylinder number 7 has got the problem, or if it is moved with the spark plug and the wire to cylinder number 3. If it moves to cylinder number 3, then you know the spark plug or the wire are your problem. If the check engine light comes back on and you still get the same diagnostic trouble code for cylinder number 7, then obviously that means the plug and the wire weren't your problem, and the next thing I would do is simply swap the coils from cylinder number 7 to cylinder number 3 and see if the diagnostic trouble code follows the coil from 7 to 3. And if it does, then I would put a brand new coil in cylinder number 3. Swapping the spark plug, the coil, and the spark plug wire from the misfiring cylinder with one of the other cylinders will usually reveal what the problem is, but not always. So in our situation, let's assume we're still getting the P0307 code, indicating we still have a problem with cylinder number 7. In this situation, the next thing I would do would be to test to make sure that our ignition coil is receiving the proper electrical signals it needs that tell it to spark. By the previous test we did where we swapped our coils, we determined that the coils are good. And so now we can test that the primary wires coming into the coil on cylinder number 7 are delivering the proper signals by removing the spark plug wire from the spark plug, and then by using a spare spark plug we can connect it to that spark plug wire and lay it on part of the engine that we know has a good ground. Then we simply start the engine and make sure we can see good consistent spark on our spark plug. If you don't see any spark at all before condemning the primary side circuitry and wiring coming into the coil, be sure that where you actually laid that spark plug and wire onto your engine, that it actually is a good source of ground. If the spark testing we just did checks out, then the next thing I would do would be to check the compression of cylinder number 7 and 3 other random cylinders. And what we're looking for is a 10% variance where cylinder number 7's compression is 10% or more lower than the other 3 cylinders. And if it is, we might be looking at a compression issue with cylinder number 7. If the compression testing that we just did didn't reveal any issues, then the next thing we need to do is make sure cylinder number 7 is getting the proper amount of fuel. And the easiest way I know to do that is by using a scan tool like my Autel MK900, because with one simple test, it can tell us multiple things about all of our fuel injectors. It can tell us if all 8 injectors are working electrically and mechanically, and if they are, that means all of the electrical signals coming into all 8 injectors are being generated and received properly. And if it turns out that all 8 of our injectors are actually pulsing, and most of the time we'll find that they are, it can then tell us if we have a seriously clogged injector or a couple of partially clogged fuel injectors. And if it turns out we have a seriously or even partially clogged fuel injector at cylinder number 7, that can easily lead to lean misfires in that cylinder, which the driver is going to notice as a rough idle. This incredibly useful scan tool does the fuel injector testing in conjunction with a fuel pressure gauge, and what it does is it tests each injector one at a time, and then it pulses each one of the injectors the same number of times, and then you read and record the pressure drop on the fuel pressure gauge. And by that you can determine the relative flow of all 8 of your injectors. If the injector doesn't fire at all during the fuel injector balance test, then we either have a bad fuel injector or we have something wrong with the power and or the signal coming into the fuel injector through these wires. If this happens, the easiest way, in my opinion, to tell whether it's the injector itself or the circuitry coming into the injector is to unplug the fuel injector, in this case for cylinder number 7, and then in its place plug in this very inexpensive Noid light and then start the engine. The light should flash in a consistent pattern, and if it does, then we know we have a bad fuel injector. If all of our injectors pulsed during the fuel injector balance test, but 1 or 2 injectors experienced a much lesser drop in fuel pressure, than all of the other injectors, then we can likely conclude that 1 or 2 injectors is either clogged or partially clogged and need to be cleaned. A clogged or partially clogged fuel injector can absolutely cause a lean idle miss in that cylinder, which translates into a rough idle. To tell if an individual fuel injector is actually pulsing or not, without the use of an expensive scan tool, you can use an inexpensive mechanics stethoscope, and then you just place this end of the probe onto the body of the fuel injector while the engine is running, and if it's pulsing, you'll absolutely be able to hear the clicking through the stethoscope. Unfortunately, without the use of a scan tool, I don't know of any easy and fairly accurate way of telling if a fuel injector is clogged or partially clogged, short of removing the fuel injectors and having them flow tested. The last thing I can think of that could cause an individual cylinder misfire like our P0307 would be an intake vacuum leak right about here where the intake manifold meets the cylinder head by cylinder number 7. A vacuum leak right there where the runner for cylinder number 7 and the intake manifold meets the cylinder head could absolutely cause a lean idle miss, resulting in, once again, a rough idle. To test for a vacuum leak, you want to listen very carefully with the engine running, both when it's cold and when it's warm, and kind of go around the perimeter of the engine, listening for that telltale sign of air being sucked through a very small hole. Something like that. Continue to move around since we have the P0307, and then focus your listening in and around where the intake manifold meets cylinder number 7. If you think you hear something but you're not sure, try spraying just a little bit of water where the manifold and the cylinder head meet, and a lot of times that'll change the pitch of the sound as the water gets sucked into the engine. Provided it's a really tiny vacuum leak, a little bit of water sucked into the engine won't hurt anything. Another common way that mechanics check for vacuum leaks is at your own risk, use an unlit propane torch, turn the gas on, so just the gas is running without a flame, and then move around between the intake manifold and the head and the back of the throttle body, and pretty much anywhere you think there might be a vacuum leak. And if you find a spot that when you hit it with the propane, it changes the RPM of the engine, pull it away, let it settle down, and then repeat in that same spot. And if it changes the RPM again, you found your vacuum leak. Well, that's a wrap on this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, go ahead and hit that thumbs up so that YouTube knows. Consider subscribing. I'm trying to catch up to Lyle at CNS. And most of all, thanks for watching.